back, everybody, to DreamHack Winter's Grand Prix for 2016. We are in our final round of Swiss. That's right. Our 2-day journey will end our first stage of tournament play. And we'll find out who is going to eliminate who's going to the round of 16. So far, we have a handful of players who are guaranteed to go through, but a few are still fighting for their tournament lives, each with their own story. My name is Frodan. I am joined by Life Coach and Raven on the other side of the tavern. And together we'll break down what's coming up next, which I believe we have a very special series featuring the Salt Lord himself, Reynad. So I'm pretty excited for that. How you guys doing? How you enjoying the tournament?
Yeah, I'm doing great. It's crazy now that we're on the last round of Swiss. This is going to basically just pump out the 16 players we're going to have for later today, and obviously, you know, top 8 tomorrow as well. And it's just great to see the story of Swiss continue as each player, as you said, we've had some fantastic players get knocked out, and we've had some great players perform, JJ being the standout who seems to always qualify through Swiss no matter what, so that's been great to watch as well. Yeah,
statistically, JJ has done the best overall DreamHack Grand Prix, and I'm not really ashamed to say that. I think he's just one of the best players in DreamHack's Swiss format. I think he's just proven himself multiple tournaments over, but we'll see. I mean, people who perform well in Swiss, sometimes they don't do well in the bracket. We'll go ahead and show you guys what's happening here. So we have a few players who are 7-1 right now. Pokravac, Super JJ, Dawn, Zorston, Loyan, Ness, and Maddie. So those guys are all guaranteed to go through to the round of 16. However, not everybody who is 6-2 is guaranteed. So Weghuz will be playing Reynad in our featured match. Tars, Nick Slay, AH, Oskaka, Stan Sivka, Mitsuhide, Kufdan, Spo. And I didn't really think about this all the way through. I'm not going to talk about every single player that goes through. Who are the ones sticking out to you, Life Coach?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, as you mentioned, Super JJ, but like with a very good score here. And we also see Ness doing very, very well. Yeah, so Ness already qualified with a 7-1. I mean, sticking out might be a big word because he already had some achievements, winning Insomnia once and things like these. But really happy that he focused on his gameplay and increased his playing strength, so that he that we can definitely say that he is very much in the competitive scene now.
How about Wife Coach? She's also 5-3 right now.
5-3.
If she wins, she could be in the running for 6-3 going through. The tiebreakers, of course, might not work out in her favor, but that's still an amazing feat.
Yeah, I also find it very awesome. I mean, 5-3. I mean, it's her first tournament, and playing with the big boys, it's already very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely a fighter, that's for sure. And of course, there's a lot of players who are eliminated too, so make sure if you guys want to follow along with us, check out the Battle 5 bracket. Remember, these guys are playing for $27,000, as well as a lot of HCT points. It's starting to become more clear how much it means to these players now that they're getting so close to the round of 16, getting points guaranteed to this tournament, plus the latter season for November actually counts for 2017 as well. So these guys, when they're eliminated, they're trying really hard. We also have a side event also happening, which is pretty cool too. If you got eliminated during the Swiss portions, you can play in the side event for some extra cash. It's best of 5 last year standing with no ban. So those guys are just having fun, just planning out a new meta game, saying like, okay, well, now that I've seen Dragon Warrior do really well, should I play it? But then we can't ban Shaman. Like, how does this work, etc. So a lot of the players here are still having a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think as well, talking about the points, and something you mentioned yesterday is that the points for the winter season are going to be great for the initial, you know, winter prelims to get in, but also for the global brawl that's happening, which is if you are the highest points earner in your country, you actually get an auto pick onto the team, which is still huge. So gaining these points is like multiple benefits for all of these players. So it's very, very important to everyone here to finish as well as possible, and that starts off by finishing top 16.
Yeah. All right. So with that, I believe I heard that we have the lineups and the bans already put in. So for Weghuz, Reynad has banned his Shaman. He is playing Warrior, Druid, and Warlock. Very common strategy, and I think Reynad's actually playing the same exact thing. Why we chose to change the graphics for a very subtle class switch, I don't know, but probably just the order of which we wrote it into the admins. Yeah. Reynad, of course, accounted for this. He actually is not just playing the N'Zoth Warrior with Panda, but he also teched Druid to be token-based with a couple of spicy cards. One of them, of course, you might see, you might not see. It's okay. It's
I like the way Frodan just teases
it's
us
the final
about
round.
this thing. It's like,
it's the final round.
maybe you'll see a cool card, maybe not, you know.
It's the final round. If he loses here, he doesn't qualify, and if he wins, they reveal deck list anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So one of the cards is Illidan Stormrage, and I tried it out a lot in Seat Story in the summer, and I actually played against him, and he laughed at me, and he was like, "Ha, Illidan Stormrage, blah blah blah, and that's a cute card, etc." And now he's playing it. My boy. He says now that Barnes is in it, it actually makes it like pretty interesting to play a card like that. So that's one of another tech card that's really interesting that I think may or may not work depending on how the series goes.
Yeah, we also saw some Brewmaster action yesterday.
Yeah, that's also another card that he included. It wouldn't be a big tournament without Reynad making it or breaking it.
Trying to make something work.
Either
right?
looking like an idiot or a genius. That's just how he rides and dies. So let's go into the first game with Druid, Token Druid that is, up against Zoo Warlock. Take it away, Life Coach and Raid.
Yeah, thank you very much, Frodan.
Yeah, so this token list might actually perform a lot better than the more common Druid lists versus Zoo. So that, you know, a big thing in this tournament is how well Zoo has performed, and one of the big ones is counterpicking Zoo into Druid and just stomping them most of the time. So, you know, we'll see if Reynad can be able to just battle back. Because I feel like if you get the Druid versus Zoo win, you're so far ahead in the series overall because the Druid just performs so well on average against a lot of decks.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we also saw some greedier cards in the Druid version as well yesterday, so I'm really curious how this will work out. But we also see a lot of ramp in the hand of the Druid. I mean, the coin and the Innovate. Obviously, you always have the coin, but it's probably beneficial to have it.
And the Ancient of War as well, you know, a card instantly see from Reynad is going to be great if you can get it out later on.
That's
and
right.
Just put up a huge wall because Zoo doesn't really, they have to just punch through taunts. They don't really have a way to get around them, to silence them or anything like that. It's pretty much, I have to just run as much power in as possible, kill it quickly, and then carry on with some extra damage.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, the power whelming will definitely help by doing that, but we already see a Nourish in Reynad's hand, and usually the Nourish is used for acceleration in this very matchup. You don't really have the time to draw the cards from this Nourish. I mean, you just don't live until turn 14.
Yeah,
so
you'll never get to play the cards, right?
Exactly.
If you draw them.
Exactly. So it's basically a now or never, and I would prefer a now. So seeing the coin and Innovate, probably just innovating coin into Nourish for mana and then shape-shifting this 1/1 away, going into the turn 5 or mana 5 next turn seems to be very, very appealing to me.
Yeah, and looking on Weghuz' side, he actually has the Imp Gang Boss on 3, which is looking very nice. The Power of Whelming might come out a little bit earlier than the Ancient of War, if there's a Violet Teacher potentially in the deck to just trade off that minion, because that's one of the danger cards for Zoo, if the Violet Teacher gets down with some combination of spells to start generating those tokens. So I think next couple of turns we're really going to see how this matchup is going to progress and who's going to gain the advantage.
That's right. Reynad agrees. So Nourish for mana and to shapeshift the 1/1 here. Oh, actually, okay, or Power of the White.
Just wants to reduce down the board presence from the Zoo as quickly as possible, and that's pretty much saying to Weghuz, trade that Peddler into this minion. To be fair, Reynad doesn't have any token generation at the moment, so that Power of the Wild wasn't going to get any work done for a long time if you weren't going to make the minion there.
Until this very moment,
yeah,
Ray.
until hello.
There is token generation, if you want to call it so. Unfortunately, Illidan at the very state of the board will just get eaten away by the 1/1 and the power.
What do you think about Illidan, Life Coach? Are you going to try this card after seeing Reynad use it?
I probably won't try it myself, but it's just, I mean, it's a very nice card, and obviously we also think that Malfurion and Illidan being his bad brother, I mean, it suits the scheme, so I'm not exactly sure whether it's suitable for competitive, for a competitive environment, but we will see about this. I mean, Reynad is at the very moment 6-2 with this lineup, so something has to work.
Yeah, I think as well, it definitely works a lot better in a format where the deck lists are hidden, at least for the Swiss stage.
That's right.
Because it's just blatantly a surprise. Like, no one's going to even think that card's going to come out, and it can just completely ruin your opponent's plans. But Weghuz' plans are actually looking pretty straightforward now with Doomguard. There is Silverware Golem, but Soulfire and Power of Whelming. Both cards he actually would really like to hold on to, as they're the ones that are going to help him punch through some big minions later on.
Right, but on the other hand, I'm pretty sure that Weghuz won't be very sad about the Doomguard coming
You do
in.
get to just play a Doomguard, which is reasonable.
Yeah, and then drawing 2 cards, right? It's insane. If this imp doesn't get handled, it's super insane.
Here we go. Illidan. We definitely weren't prepared to see it in this tournament. It's a very true surprise.
There he is, but he will probably just get eaten away by this power overwhelming, I assume. Just like
we can hope, life coach. We can hope.
We can hope.
It might survive, and it might just bust out a win for Reynad. We'll see. But it's actually a reasonable speed bump for him to deal with. There you go. It's going to eat up a power overwhelming. So very clean kill for Weghuz there, but also just a use of a resource. And frankly, Reynad didn't really have much else to do that turn.
Yeah, that's true. And now coming the Ancient of War coming down, but Soulfarer and Doomguard. Maybe Weghuz will even take the gamble and just Soulfaring first, just going for this 2 in 3. I mean, that's very reasonable because I mean it's very unlikely.
The payoff is huge.
Yeah, the payoff is huge, and it's only a 1 in 3 that the Doomguard will get discarded. So, okay. So
I think looking at Reynad's hand as well, having 2 Ancient of Wars and a Swipe and a Feral Rage means that he can stabilize very quickly if he gets one down after the other. He's actually clearing a huge chunk off the board now. And then he just plays Ancient of War next turn, then another Ancient of War. It's like Zui's going to kind of struggle to get through those like 2 wall minions.
Yeah, that's a definitely valuable point you made. So probably Reynad is thinking if I play the Instant of War, the
Soulfire is kept.
Oh, it's kept. This is so sick. Yeah, so Reynad is saying, first I clear the board and then I play the Instant of Wars because of the Councilman, and it's definitely viable, but probably not good enough in this very situation.
Look at the cards Weghuz has in hand. They're all buff cards or just Soulfire for damage, of course. It's going to get so much extra value and damage out of these minions.
Yeah, just
and a juggler as well, okay.
I mean, he can even opt in to cycle with the Soulfire, but he can also just opt in not to cycle.
Well, I think, like, in general, the cycle's probably worth more, but with Abusive Sergeant, Direwolf, and Juggler, those are 3 great minions to, like, finish off the game with, because it's just extra damage from hand, effectively.
Exactly, and I mean, he can play all of them, which is just insane.
And Soulfire.
And Soulfire, it's just insane.
Get the repeat value from the Direwolf, the Abusive gets some work done, the Juggle's helping. This is going extremely well for Weghuz now.
That might be a little bit... Oh no, that's good, yeah. So just going for that one. Trading those. Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Putting Reynad only to 3 life now. Does have the Ancient of War, but even with a Juggler down, this is a little bit scary.
Yeah, I mean, he's facing like 10, 12, 14, 15 damage on board, so the Ancient of War won't change anything about that here. It's just lethal on board, so Reynad needs to play the dragon, but I don't even know what he wants to draw.
Yeah, even Swipe wouldn't really do with anything, so it wouldn't be enough, and Reynad just being ran over by Zu there. We see Violet Teacher in the list, but it just didn't come out soon enough.
Yeah.
All Reynad's early turns, he did get the early Nourish off, but it just wasn't quite enough there, and the Elden Storm Rage not making too much of an impact in that game, but still cool to see anyway.
Being like a 6 mana 7/5, that didn't help very much.
It soaked some damage, but the power overwhelming was key, because just trading off the Possessed Villager and a PO is like perfect. You still keep the 1/1 after the Death Rattle, and you don't have to trade in the Gang Boss, for example, that was on the board.
It was just insane. I mean, as you said, I mean, it was 2 mana and the 1/1 for the 7/5 Illidan for 6 mana. So insane tempo swing here.
Now we're going to see a very, very important matchup here in this series. The winner of the Zoo Mirror has, previously in this tournament gone on to do very well in a lot of series overall. So Reynad's confident that his Zoo is his better matchup here.
So Reynad, Reynad has some minions which he can deploy, also very cheap. On the other hand, we see Weghuz, who also has this early game access, and an Imp King Boss. And the Imp King Boss will definitely be important. In the mirror match, Imp King Boss is exactly the minion you want to have.
Yep. A lot of the time it is coined out on 2, especially just to get it out that little bit sooner.
Yes.
And start causing trouble. Even though we can see Weghuz has multiple 2-drops, he can do other options. But the Imp Gang Boss, as you said, is just so powerful in the mirror. Generating those tokens is a huge advantage. And Reynad's off to a slightly slower start, but he can get a good trade in here onto this Flaming.
Yeah, I mean the Flaming really nicely contesting these 1-3, so even forcing out the 2-2. And if Reynad doesn't have the answer to this Imp King Boss, it might as well already be nearly over, because the Imp King Boss is perfectly contesting this 2-2 Wolf, and with the Knife Juggler it will just wreak havoc.
Yeah, one of the moments where that Knife Juggler is a bit of a pain. You don't really want multiple hits hitting that Imp Gang Boss, going to cause the board to spiral out of control, and this is so awkward. Even the Doom Guard draw, because if you forget about the Juggler, you could go, okay, well, I'll just play the Librarian, the Villager, and then just build on that.
Right,
but now the Librarian can throw the Doom Guard, which makes it like a huge problem at this point, because Doom Guard feels like what Reynad needs to just get back ahead in this game.
Ooh, he really goes for the knife, because what he's saying is even if I hit the Imp Gang Boss, I can still trade with this Wolf, but it doesn't happen.
Okay.
So Wolf goes into phase, and now the next turn will definitely hurt Reynad big time, just because of the Knife Juggler. Even the Weghuz imps throwing knives around, getting new imps, just insane.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good.
Probably even trading into the Knife Juggler. I wouldn't mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's just about the biggest threat, just over the Direwolf. It's one Juggle just going to phase, not exactly what Weghuz was after. Well, another go at it though.
Yeah, absolutely what you said. So every knife on the board is just so important.
Yeah.
And knives to the face are basically non-existent.
Would you like to discard some cards?
God.
Live coach.
Yeah, definitely not what Reynad was looking for. Would you tap here? Oh, I don't know. It feels awkward. I mean, you could probably just play either the Soulfire or the Librarian and hope Doomguard becomes discarded and you get value from the Soulfire. I like it.
Yeah, I think you
yes.
can't wait, to be honest.
No, you can't.
If you try and wait for that Doomguard, well, at the end of the day, Doomguard's a fantastic minion, but it's only a single minion.
Yep.
It can only hit once.
That's right.
Which means,
That's
well,
right.
if you've got a really wide board, then okay, kill one minion a turn. I don't care, I'll overrun you and actually take the win that way. So, Reynad, I don't find that Doomguard is not going to be the card that saves him at the moment, and just continuing to battle for the board.
I mean, interesting, because he now has this 2-1 Wolf. What does he really want to attack? I mean, he cannot prevent Defender of Argus anyways, so I wouldn't be surprised if this 2-1 Wolf would just hit the face.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be traded into by Weghuz, right? He has an Imp already. He's going to kill this Wolf no matter what.
Yeah.
And are you valuing the kill on the Gang Boss? It looks like Reynad is.
Oh, if he's going in, Reynad just gives Weghuz another minion. If there is a Defender of Argus, and there is, this Defender of Argus will just wreak havoc here.
Yeah, look at the value, and this is what Zoo is just historically just known for, like getting the most value out of small minions, booking them up. And you know, this 2-1 Imp may as well be a 2-2 Imp. At this moment in time, the 1 damage change is nothing on the board at the moment because there are no tokens for Reynad.
Ooh, and now Reynad drew this Silverway Golem. He would have really appreciated to do it anywhere else, anywhere earlier. But now, at exactly the time where he got rid of all the discard cards, the Silverway Golem makes its appearance. So it's really sad for him.
Yeah. And you look at the value on this as well. The Juggler comes down, the Abusive can make the Argus trade into the Voidwalker. Then this Imp that got from the Imp Gang Boss can get the trade into the minion last turn, and it'll kill the Flame Imp, and it's just so much value.
So such a difference, it's just insane. Even here, I mean, now Weghuz already having the board control at the beginning of his turn, and a lot of cards to interact with the board. I think this might as well be over here and now.
Gonna be definitely a tough one for Reynad to swing back into this matchup.
I mean, just also look at these beneficial trades. It's just insane.
Oh, now we can just play the minion potentially snipe the Flame Imp with the Juggler, and if he does,
this is crazy.
Oh, okay.
This is so crazy.
This is when we see another Reynad tech card, Hellfire, in his Zoo to beat the Mirror. I think in this tournament, it wouldn't have been a bad idea.
It's true, it's true.
There's been a lot of Zoo Mirrors happen. And that is going to be it for Game 2. Weghuz 2-0 up with this Zoo. Are we going to see another 3-0 live coach?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really curious about this. I mean, we saw Zoo 3-0ing all the time in this very tournament, so I wouldn't be that surprised. But yeah, let's see. I mean, Reynad has this very slow control warrior style, but if he draws the right cards, he might still have an option. Even reverse sweep RDU yesterday.
Yeah, with the warrior.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see how this goes.
Yeah, it's definitely doable, but because this is last hero standing, the deck Reynad just chose to go into the Zoo.
Yep.
Is his best deck he thinks he has against Zoo, right? There's no reason to try and not pick your favorite matchup.
That's right,
when
that's
in
right.
last hero standing specifically.
Yep.
So, you know, feels like the Warrior's the worst one. Does have the Infested Torrent. Doesn't go with keeping it. A little bit too slow. Needs the War X's early on to help. And he does get War X Revenge and a Brawl. That's actually not a bad start to just have the initial tools you need to at least try and stabilize at some point.
Yeah, that was basically what we were talking about. I mean, taking a glance at the first mulligan before mulligan hand, 6-drop, 6-drop, maybe arguably 8-drop. Yeah, pretty bad. Can just not play that.
Slam as well.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, even coining the fireworks I wouldn't mind, because you will probably be able to slam anyways. But keeping it might be also fine. You just invest a lot of damage, but having this coin to just equalize out your curve might be definitely viable.
I think as well, like, and we're going to go forward into the future for a minute. Like, a play I think I've ended up talking quite a lot about with a few players now is like, as the warrior, if you get the Sylvanas down and you can buy that turn to play Sylvanas, then go for a brawl, you are doing very well versus Zoo, because you end up with the minion no matter what, and then you've got the board as the control warrior versus the Zoo. So that's definitely a good play to build into, but obviously you have to survive up until that point.
Yeah, I mean, we also just saw the 1 and a 3 discard, and I'm pretty sure if the Silverware Golem would have been discarded, it would have been pretty sick.
Yeah.
But even in this state, I mean, Warrior is still losing a little bit of life, but the Fireworks definitely helping to stabilize him here. Also like a lot of pain. Not a bad draw.
Yeah.
Definitely don't mind this, contesting the board. And we see that Weghuz doesn't have... Oh, now he does.
This is looking pretty good so far. Abusive Sergeant can actually just be used to get a single attack kill on the Acolyte. You definitely don't want Warrior to be able to use. He's got the Direwolf anyway.
Yeah, he's got the Direwolf. Yeah, exactly.
To kill off there. Of course, has the Abusive for a much more impactful turn later on. Feels like with Zoo now, because you know we're past the point of having Sea Giants, for example, in Zoo like we used to. Like there's hardly ever like bad draws. Like the worst thing is like a Doomguard on turn 1 is like a bad draw. Other than that, you're more than likely to just get something at least playable every single turn, and it's just crazy to see the power of the deck overall. As Reynad already on 18 health.
Oh wow, the Acolyte. Yeah, I mean, as you basically said, I mean, Zoo can always do something at least. So it's really, I mean, if both decks get the perfect draw, then probably Zoo will be a little bit underwhelming, because the Warriors' tools are just better in average. I mean, if you compare these cards 1-on-1, but just having this consistency of the Zoo that he always plays is able to play something, and the Warrior just has to draw the right cards in order to counter that makes it so appealing.
Yeah, well, Zoo almost feels like it always draws the right cards, because he's got so many of them.
Exactly.
Excuse me. And now, there's the Abusive coming down. We're going to see a nice clean trade onto the Barnes. The Acolyte is going to cycle an additional one for Reynad. Do you just not trade into this?
Yeah,
Are you scared about the brawl potential of giving the Warrior a chance to win the brawl? But that doesn't seem too much of a threat.
That's not too much of a threat, I agree. I'm not sure. Maybe you trade, maybe you don't. But it's also not too bad.
I guess this generates more pressure, because the Acolyte could actually kill off the Abusive Sergeant.
Yeah.
So it actually just creates more power on the board overall. And it's also not actually the worst board to be brawled as the Zoo player. They've not committed a lot to this board. It's you know, a token. The Imp Gang Boss has got some work done so far. The Abusive obviously got his battle cry off, so not too impactful. There's no like big count summon. There's no Doomguard that you can just lose a board full of and cause some major issues there. Reynad has a lot of options now, though.
Yeah, we also have to point out that Weghuz, by drawing the Soulfire and the Power of Aiming, just increased his reach by a lot. So we already see 10 damage on the board with the Soulfire and the Power of Aiming in combination. That means a whooping 18 damage. Yeah, so that kind of creates the reach he needs to maybe even counterfeit the Revenge, because that would be the card which would probably make the game here.
Yeah. Going for the Ironforge Portal, which will put him to 20. That's nearly enough damage.
He's
Weghuz
thinking
to
about
just
pointing.
kill him. Oh, okay. There we go. That's definitely going to help.
So I'm not even sure whether Weghuz... I mean, Weghuz could utilize the Soulfire and or the Power of Aiming, but maybe he really wants to keep it. I mean, knowing that Reynad runs at least one Revenge, maybe two in his deck, he might just save them to have this burst damage potential.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that yesterday as well in the matchup where the Zoo pushed the Warrior down to Revenge, and then the Revenge actually enabled the victory for the Warrior.
Exactly.
They wiped the board, and how does Zoo finish, as you said? But with Soulfire and the Power of Omen available, it's looking pretty good. Weghuz can also choose to just tap and take it very slowly and just have a lot of cards, a lot of options, and just continue to apply just enough pressure to Reynad to be able to make him not really claw himself back into this game.
That's right. I mean, he could have also gone very fancy and just play all of the cards. I mean,
You can always just play everything as Zoo.
no, but no kidding. Like, he could have also opted in for Knife Juggler, Malkazar's Imp, Power Ramming,
And you discard with the
Villager.
Soulfire onto
And-
the Golem.
yeah, and you discard guaranteed the Golem, and you deliver a lot of face damage here. So 4, 6, 10, bring him down to 10 with the Juggles to 7. So yeah, would have been an option.
I think the important thing as well is we've not seen Doom Guards yet. So Weghuz has managed to pressure Reynad down to quite a low health toll and still has the burst capability with 2 Doom Guards still in the deck.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, interesting. I mean, if you would have gone for that, bring him down to 7. Yeah, but then if your opponent brawls the board, but even then you still have something on the board. Yeah,
And with like floating 1 mana, the warrior can't really do anything with that last minion with
Exactly.
1 mana. So
Exactly. I mean, Revenge would have hurt big time.
yeah.
Though, yeah. So
And now there's a Councilman on the board that is a huge threat in itself, actually, especially when the Zoo is on so many cards without even a live tap. Most of the Zoo deck is actually just minions, so you're expecting a lot of buffs going on there. And Reynad just has yet again another awkward turn. Obviously, we can see that, as we mentioned before, Soulfire and PO are just so much extra reach that you often just can't really afford to play around.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Because everything else just feels worse here. You could force a kill on the Councilman with just Slam Execute and just say, I just need this dead. And then you can just afford to just take 4 damage from the board at the moment.
So.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is it Lisa? Oh, it probably is. Well, I mean, it definitely is potentially Lisa, right? So let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 plus 8 is 17. If 1 knife hits, he only needs to need 1 knife hit. Oh, okay.
It's just going for another
Oh,
Soulfire.
wow.
There we go.
Oh
That'll
my
work.
God.
Okay, so he needs to Soulfire and not discard the other Soulfire.
Oh my God.
Or is that just guaranteed?
Oh no, it's probably guaranteed.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
yeah,
it was
with
guaranteed.
PO,
Never
yeah.
mind.
Okay,
Yeah.
well. Great. That's a
That makes it,
3-0 for Zoo. Yet another Zoo sweep in a very convincing fashion. This, you know, I have nightmares about Shaman, to be honest, but when it's banned out, Zoo is the new scary deck, and I think a lot of players identified this, and we've just seen the raw power of this
Yeah,
deck in
that's
the
awesome.
tournament so far.
That's awesome. By the way, what you suggested about just playing the Soulfire, I think Soulfire would have also guaranteed lethal. Because even if you discard Soulfire with Soulfire, you could have done exactly the same.
Yeah, yeah.
So both players guarantee lethal.
I didn't
yeah.
realize that he'd had just quite enough damage to just win anyway.
Yeah.
But it didn't end up mattering in the end, and Weghuz takes it. Frodan, what do you think of that crazy series?
That was fast, man. That was super fast. I think greed got the better of Reynad a few times there. And, you know, I don't really necessarily blame Reynad for doing some of those greedy plays because he feels like he's at disadvantage, so he needs to take some risks. But it definitely cost him, I think. There's opportunities for him to obviously survive, and Warrior survives over time. Feel free to come, man. Don't worry. We showered.
We're all friends.
Right? Some of us showered. So, Weg, I need help here. How do we pronounce your name?
I usually am pretty free with the pronouncement.
You're pretty
People have-
free-spirited.
Yeah.
Right?
People
We
have problems, but I can take
Weghuz?
whatever. Yeah.
Weghuz?
Weghuz. I say myself.
Weghuz.
Weghuz.
All right.
Ah,
It's
okay.
a kind of a Swedish accent. I am Swedish, so yeah.
Weghuz.
Makes sense. Weghuz. Yeah.
Weghuz.
Yeah,
Skal.
I just go for like Weghuz. that's how I read it, so it's how I'm gonna say it.
How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Yeah. We don't know too much about you, so why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I stream full time right now, and I do it on Twitch. And
Awesome.
I've been partnered some month ago.
Nice.
And I
congrats.
stream in Swedish. There are not that many Swedish streamers, but I'm one of them. And the community is growing, and I haven't competed for that long. And I'm feeling really good lately about improving at the game and top hundreds and competing for HCT. I played in the summer prelims.
Nice. How'd you
So
do?
I went out pretty quickly to AK Wonder, went to the
that's okay.
losers, and yeah.
But hey, even qualifying for prelims is sometimes hard because of the points
Yeah.
and stuff, the grinds. So.
Yeah, it's a grind.
Yeah, nicely
sure.
done. Nicely done. Awesome. We did get news that the winner of your series still might not actually make it.
I'm 7-2.
Yes.
Might not make
A
it.
couple of 7-2s won't make it.
Okay,
And,
I was 5-0 at first, so I think my tiebreakers are enough.
Okay.
Oh,
All
that's
right.
pretty
Yeah,
good.
so I think some tiebreakers it definitely is dependent on how your opponents do and stuff. But
sure.
we'll find out. Good luck in that.
Thank you.
Regard. Do you guys have any questions for Mr. Weghuz here?
No, not too many. I mean, that was a pretty straightforward series with just Zoo sweeping. Have you had a Zoo been performing very well for you this tournament? Because we've seen a lot of Zoo matches, and it's been stomping in general.
I predicted it doing well, and I swept the last series as well. So
okay.
Yeah, it's been doing good.
Keep going.
Yeah, I'll try.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Any insight you'd like to share on just the series or your tournament run?
If you're banning Shaman, play Zoo.
That seems like a very good strategy, man.
Yeah.
Strategy. All right. Well, I don't really have anything else, so good luck on the rest of the tiebreakers here.
Yeah.
And I guess we're done with Swiss officially. We're unless we have another match queued up.
No,
we do have another
yeah.
match queued up. Okay. So what's our next match?
It's the Rat versus Oderman.
Ah, okay,
So I
cool.
believe that's
right.
a elimination match as well.
Everything
Yeah,
is
it
pretty
will
much
be. It's the last
elimination
round,
match
right?
on stream.
Yeah, of course.
All right, so Odemin from the French community up against the Rat. I think both these guys are also 6'2". So then the winner of this goes on to the round of 16, hopefully. All right, so once again, Raven, life coach. See you in a bit. Enjoy the series.
Thank you very much, Froden.
Okay, so it looks like we're getting a good old Dragon Warrior versus Druid, and the Druid looks as standard as we can see.
Yep.
But obviously, there's still a chance at the Asheraj variant to go in there. I'm not 100% sure, but probably a fan of casting some Dragon Warrior, life coach.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've played this deck a
couple
lot
of times.
games. A couple of times.
Now and again.
So I just have very positive memories about it because that was the bungee jump deck.
Yeah.
So that was pretty awesome. But okay, so we see Odemian having the initiative here, and I think if he just plays the Dragon, maybe he trades. I mean, Dragon Warrior can Blackwing Corruptor, but he's not very far ahead. Also didn't deliver any kind of damage yet, and that's usually a very big breaking point. These 15 life that you could just get this 9/9 Dragonite Crush on board. 6/6 Dragonite can become handled. 9/9 not that much. So
yeah, I mean, I think one of the last series of yesterday we saw Dragonite Crush as a 9/9.
Yep.
Followed by a second one, and it's like, well,
right.
Maybe in some circumstance you can deal with the first one.
That's right.
The second one straight after is just never going to be dealt with, right? It's just game winning in almost every circumstance. We are going to see a full clear for the Rat, and just offering up a Frothing Berserker as a 6/4 to Odemon, and he does have the swipes available, so it's going to be a pretty straightforward kill. He can use the Feral Rage if he wants, but I feel like with 2 swipes, 2 Living Roots available, and the Feral Rage, might just hold on to that one for later.
Yeah, I agree. You would probably just wants to swipe there.
Swipe normally doesn't get the wide value versus Dragon Warrior because the minions are so bulky. Just using it to kill a Frothing is often good enough.
Oh, okay. He also goes for some root action. Interesting.
What do you think about that with the hook equipped as well? Because it's just an automatic trade of one. Like, one's just dead. If there was a War Axe equipped, then that feels a lot better because they're never really going to throw a War Axe into a 1/1, right?
That's right. I think Odemian's thinking is that he doesn't want to utilize the coin in order to also play out the Archangel next turn. So Odemian's game plan here is just to Living Roots, trade in, and play the Archangel next turn without utilizing the coin. But I would have also probably, especially because of the hook, just saved these Living Roots and just taking into account that he would have just needed to play the coin next turn. But that's still fine, right? If you coin, you play double Living Roots on the target your opponent gave you, and then you drop the Giant. That might be good enough.
I think the problem is, I think it's what actually we discussed yesterday, is that when you play an Arcane Giant for 7 mana plus, or maybe even 6 mana plus, that Giant has to get work done like 100% of the time.
Right.
If it doesn't, you are punished very hard as the Druid player. So it looks like Odemon might actually be not playing the Giant this turn.
He can coin it. Yeah.
So he can actually, this is a nice turn, clear off the Blackwing Corruptor and play the Giant. This is much more reasonable than just playing the Giant and hoping for the best.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, sure. Okay, there's Grom, but there is no, there is activation, but the question is also whether the activation will prolong in the hand long enough. Probably he will, this is what I was talking about. So now he's Blood to Icarus, and the activation just goes away. Grom, making Grom like a mere 4/9 for 8 mana, so not that appealing. Oh,
With
that's a very
charge,
important one.
Yeah.
the Ace Drake is a very, very important one, because with this draw, I mean, before it wasn't that safe to assume that Odemir might bridge to turn 10 so that he can cycle this Weghuz and get the refill of his hand. But if he would have drawn a blank here, we might have even seen not that good turn 8s, maybe even a blank turn 9, but this Ace Drake is just insane here.
Yeah, it's really going to help him just get into some more cycle and just draw into some more threats, really, because he's doing a reasonable job of keeping up.
Yep.
The Dragon Warrior, as we mentioned, Odemir has not actually really taken much damage considering he's against the Dragon Warrior.
Yep.
I imagine early in this game there was not double Alex Strauss as champion coming out on turn 2 and 3.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, he's actually even up on health and still has his Arcane Giant in a pretty strong position, being able to clear off all of that and not having to trade the Arcane Giant in, which is huge. That pretty much just has to be execute for the Rat at this point.
Yeah, it's super insane. And also about the refill, I mean, maybe the Red could have had the chance if there wouldn't have been refill now, but the Ace Drake, just so insane. You just play the Ace Drake, you know you have a safe turn 9 where you can at least do something, and it's just very, very good for him.
It's actually one-off lethal as well now.
Yeah, that's right.
It's kind of crazy. Spell damage is good.
Well, do you go for it though? I mean, you might, because you also force your opponent to armor up, so that burns 2 mana immediately. You know you have Weghuz, and if you draw any kind of damage in the next, let's say, 2 or 3 turns, you already
the thing is as well, you have two draws next turn to draw something, right?
Exactly,
so,
exactly.
And you know, Ragnaros fits into that slot because you'll be on 10 mana, so you can cycle, still have 8 mana free. So yeah.
Yeah, and your opponent needs to get rid of the Giant and the Drake, so there are a lot of benefits to that, but I don't mind about this as well. I mean, I guess both plays just win the game here.
Oh, there's a... Speaking of Ragnaros, there's one, but it's not going to come out this turn. Corcoran is going to help the Rat take down this Giant at last, but I feel like he's done a good job. He can retire to the graveyard now.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, we already see that now it becomes a little bit more tricky, right? I mean,
yeah.
The Blood Mage, okay.
Wrath helps.
Yeah, definitely.
Never mind.
But do you rush for... Yeah, you probably just rush for full, yeah. Oh no, for you rush for 3, right? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because the double spell power.
And you can shapeshift,
hero power, yeah. This is nice. There's, you know, the spell damage just on board, 5 power on board, and also Thanos just being there for whenever you want it to die or your opponent kills it, more cycle, and you know that's all that Odemir's after right now, just cycling a little bit more to just close out the game.
Yeah, you definitely don't complain about that one. Okay,
yeah, looks like Rag hero power doesn't seem too upsetting here. Unfortunate for the Rat that the Thanos is on the board, as it's just a 1-1 and it could just soak up all of the damage.
Yeah, I mean, this has to hit the Dragon, otherwise it will be over. Oh, there's
okay,
Dragon hit.
Let's get it. So the Rat's hanging on.
Okay. So, oh my, okay, yeah, that's pretty convenient. I mean, with paper, I mean, are you kidding me? This is just so, and another wreck, it's so insane.
Oh, Fandral, crazy thing.
It's just crazy.
So, Ravaging Ghoul will help with all these 1-1s, Live Coach, but what do we do about the Fandral? I think that's the key question the Rat's asking himself now. This draw is going to be very important. Draconic Crusher.
Only a 6-6.
Only a 6-6, yeah. Not quite been able to buff it up to a 9-9 yet. But even so, you just leave Fandral on the board and you feel terrible.
Oh yeah, you do. But you probably just play all your minions. I mean, what are you supposed to do, right? You just play all your minions and you just hope for the best.
Gonna see the Finley choices come up now from the Rat. And I imagine he's probably still just after the Priest heal or something at this point. Oh. Well, out of those, I think Steady Shot.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that helps him actually end the game.
That's true.
At this point, everything else doesn't really do too much. Raven Idol with Fandral as well.
Oh,
do you want more value?
Yeah, I guess Raven Idol. It's just over. This game is just over.
Argent Commander, not a bad pickup from the minion aspect.
Well, it's leaves the right,
yeah, that's just gonna be game. And Odemir going 2-0 up so far with this Druid, looking pretty strong.
Yeah, very distinctive. I mean, easy 2-0, and now let's see what the last deck will be from the Red.
Yeah, this is gonna be a tough one, as the Rat has to pretty much like reverse sweep with whatever deck he has left. We're obviously not sure because we've gone in like halfway through this series more or less, but Well, Damien, you've got to be feeling great if you're 2-0 up with the Druid list as well, which has so many great matchups, and even its worst matchups aren't often that terrible.
Yeah, that's right. And it's the mirror. It's a mirror.
Ah,
so
fantastic.
yeah, let's see about this. I can already see some Malygos in Odemian's hand.
Well, more importantly, I can see the ramp.
Yeah, but the ramp is very important. So turn 2 into ramp, into 5. But both players have this luxury, so yeah. It will be very equalized.
Are good at Druid. They drew Wild Growth, which is going to help. And
oh, Fenrir.
I actually like when the Druid mirrors look like this, when either both players draw a ramp or neither of them do. Like, you know, it's such like, it becomes a much more like fair fight as opposed to normally if one player draws ramp and the other doesn't. Game can end pretty quick.
That's right, that's right. Definitely coin into Wild Growth Nourish here. I mean, you have 4 accelerators and it's...
There's nothing else to do.
Yeah, there's nothing else to do.
You need to ramp, you need to draw, but the rat has these options. But it does happen sometimes that you draw too much ramp and can never actually get anything going with the mana. It can be a bit difficult. Nourish obviously helps because you can just use it to cycle instead. But sometimes you can go into like Wild Growth, Innovate. You're like, I have nothing to play except for more ramp. But I think with double Nourish, the rat should be okay.
Yeah, I mean, this hand also just calls for it, right? I mean, it's...
oh, yeah, it's definitely the line you have to take regardless.
Oh, did he just... not what? Oh, that's interesting, because he thinks that... okay. So, he preserved the coin to...
what does the coin get him to, though?
Yeah, I'm also curious.
Is it wild? Because you're gonna, or at least you would have initially presumed that the Wild Growth hits this turn, right?
Yeah,
but then you can Wild Growth coin into Nourish, but then the second Wild Growth becomes much less valuable and almost dead in your hand.
That's right. That's right. I would have also. I was also a little bit surprised, but I mean, it seemed to be still okay because he drew the Innovate and he could play coin Innovate into Acceleration Nourish into Wild Growth. So now he's quite accelerated.
But there's a Fandral on the board now.
I can handle it though, so that's fine. But you're right, it's definitely very scary. So Odemian just taking the gamble here. Can the red handle my Fandral or not? If not, well then probably GG. And in this case, the red has the answer, but that was not a very obvious thing.
Yeah, and I feel like you just have to. Yeah, there we go. We're gonna see it. It's not too much of a surprise. Like if Fandral comes down on 4, you don't kill it. And then Nourish happens, you probably just lose at that point.
Yes.
You become so far behind in the matchup, it becomes very difficult. And the rat did have the answer in the form of the swipe and the hero power. And but now he's got a few cards to make something work with, whereas Odemian seems like his hand is shaping up really nicely now.
Oh yeah, I mean, you probably just play the S-Drake, you draw another card, always staying mana effective. Works out very well. So
now this is... So the rat gets to Nourish for 3 cards here. But what the problem he's running into now is he can't answer the Drake.
Yeah.
Now he's almost always going to be a minion behind unless he can do a big swing turn.
That's right.
And this is a real problem because you look at Odemian's hand, he can now either cash in on the fact that there's no minion being played and Nourish himself to just say, okay, I'll just keep up in cards. Or he can just drop Sylvanas and say, well, can you deal with Drake and Sylvanas? Probably not.
Yeah,
and then Nourish next turn. Odemian definitely is in the driving seat, I would say, in this match so far.
Oh yeah, I mean, we also know that if Odemian just goes ahead and just deploys the Sylvanas Windrunner on this very board, the red doesn't even have a way to handle the Sylvanas. He cannot deal the damage unless he also plays the dragon, but obviously you don't really want to play a dragon into Sylvanas, right? Yeah. So that's insane.
Yeah, and even if there was an answer, the answer will often take up most of the rat's turn.
Yeah,
and then you're like, okay, well, I'll just do something else this turn and then just constantly stay ahead. Odemian just go for the Nourish, though. Try and just keep up in the card count and now slightly get ahead himself and just say, well, I'm okay having effectively a free turn to cycle. And we'll continue again, but, oh yeah, Ragnaros.
And that's also one thing. I mean, Odemian probably says, hey, I'm ahead on board. I'm also probably ahead in the game. And I can even utilize Sylvanas to maybe catch this one rack or the other or whatever the red will deploy. So, yeah, the Nourish might just refill his hand. He also feels very comfortable. Maybe he also thinks, well, if I just get this Malygos and a little bit of direct damage, I might even just close down this game at this very moment.
Yeah, and the Sylvanas can be a huge problem for your opponent later on.
Yes,
like, you don't have to play on curve.
Exactly.
There's, as you said, there's Rag, there's Arcane Giants, there's your opponent's Malygos, which is going to be, you know, ridiculous if you manage to steal that. So Sylvanas is always a threat, whereas getting the cycle is really going to help him here. And the Rat has a interesting choice now. He can actually kill off the Azure Drake and still squeeze out the Arcane Giant if he wants to. Looks like he's going to go for just a clean kill with the Azure Drake. Using the spell power to sort of build in. I feel like this was the turn he was setting up regardless, because he hero powered into the Azure Drake to put it to 3 last turn. So he took the 4 damage, the 8 total, because the Azure Drake got to attack, of course, just to build into maybe a smoother turn going forward.
Okay. So Arcane still costing 10. That's also very interesting.
I like this. Just innovate Mali.
Yeah, I like
the
it very
Moonfire to kill a minion. This is becoming like just the tactic in the mirror.
Yeah.
To just play Mali, clear off with your burst damage, so to speak, and then say, well, what do you do?
Yeah, absolutely love it. Yeah.
And especially because Odimian has the dream of having a swipe follow up with Mali.
That's
So
right.
your opponent can play whatever the hell they want, and then you just go swipe.
Yeah,
and he's dead.
absolutely.
You know, and you're like, great.
Absolutely. I mean, the Red already realized that this match just slips away. Since he also doesn't have any kind of way to address this Malygos here.
And look, Wild Growth.
Turn 9.
Still in the hand, and effectively a dead card because of the line the Rat took a little bit earlier in the game. So, you know, it's don't know how much of an impact it would have made doing the slightly different curve there. Just utilizing the additional card, but still.
Yeah, I would have also liked it turn 1, but yeah, I guess the Red definitely had some things in his thoughts.
There's just no great answer here, is there?
So
Rag hit Mali and then deal with it next turn?
Yeah, but
hope to deal with
it next turn, right? You cannot even deal with it even
well, you have
if he
Azure
hit
Drake, 2 damage Moonfire, hero power for 3, so he needs 1 more damage.
Okay, so Arcane Giant 2.
Okay. This is good.
Yeah, but even if it hits, I mean, it doesn't even hit, but even if.
And now...
Oh, this swipe. Oh my god.
Oh, it's so crazy.
Oh, Raven Idol, okay.
So Raven Idol into a Wrath, you swipe one of the minions and Wrath down the other?
Yeah, I mean, that's
I mean, there's still a lot of options.
Yeah, exactly. Can there be a Raven Idol into lethal ever? So it needs 9 damage. Yeah.
Oh, Living Roots is nice.
It's already 7 more, but not quite enough.
Yeah, because of only being turn 8, the Innovate on the Malygos coming out at 7, means that he doesn't quite have the mana to be able to say Wrath, Feral, Living Roots as well. But he's got time, I think, at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I mean, look, he has Sylvanas. He can actually just clear off the AA and play Sylvanas.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't complain about what's going on here. Yeah, he definitely plays the swipe though. I mean, I'm pretty sure he plays the swipe.
Yeah.
Maybe swipe, even Living Roots the other 8/8 or whatever.
Yeah, and just say, well, this was your best attempt at killing Malygos.
Yeah.
Try again.
Oh, actually, yeah, exactly like this. Yeah, I like it very much.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm really not surprised by this play. Also, just also still having the option next turn to nourish into additional spells. So yeah.
Yeah, it's just got all the gas in the tank he needs.
Yeah.
Even extra. And yeah, this is just great to see from Odimian here, where he's just said, well, you could kill Malygos. Your best option was Rag into Giant. I killed them both. Malygos is still 11 health.
Yeah.
What do you do now with less cards than you had the previous turn?
Oh, Giants for 1, okay. But it's interesting, right? If the Ragnaros would have hit the Malygos, he could have now cleared it. Yeah. I mean, even after losing 2 minions like this.
To be fair, if Ragnaros hit the Malygos, do you think Odimian's turn would have been different?
Yeah, probably it would have been. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's like the backup plan. Right?
Yeah, definitely. So nourishing for additional spells, definitely like this one. It just that's lethal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be game in a 3-0 for Odimian versus the Rat. Great performance with the Druid there, and you've got to feel great. It's the last round of Swiss, and you finish up your Swiss portion of DreamHack with a 3-0 sweep over the Rat, who's a very accomplished player himself.
Oh yeah, he is, and as you said, I mean, going into this top 16, the last match, basically the most important one. If you want to see it, it's basically the extension, like the extension to best of 32 to the round of 32, right? Because the winner goes into the round of 16, the loser busts out. So
yeah, and as when we were talking about, it's the top 16 that get through potentially, because I'm not 100% sure on what the tiebreakers look like, of course. And welcome back, Frodan. And the top 16, depend on tiebreakers. We'll find out obviously a little bit later on, announce that. But it's HGT points. It's getting into the top 16 of DreamHack. Full stop. It's
fame.
The kickoff of prize money. It's the fame. It's everything. But what do you mean? Is it here now with a? And so is Frodan decided to join us.
My bad. I was watching the series, but I was also like talking about the side event because I'm pretty excited. I might even enter the side event.
Oh.
Anyways, how you doing, man? That was started off a series pretty well for you.
Yeah. Well, everything went pretty well. I mean, Malfurion just went to 3-0, so.
Yeah, it feels like this specific tournament, a lot of sweeps are happening a lot more often. And in last year's Danny, you often see like trading. So like sometimes like you can't cue the counter. But it feels like most people are sweeping with Druid or Zoo or Control Warrior or something like that. How has your lineup been working?
It's been working pretty well. I went a lot. I got a lot of 3-0s with Druid and Warrior.
Yeah.
Zoo went a bit so-and-so, but I saw a lot of people 3-0 with Zoo as well. So, you just every matchup at the moment in the meta is basically pretty near 50-50. At most 60-40, so anything can beat anything, and at that point, you can just 3-0 basically any lineup with any lineup. So
that's a pretty good summary of it. It may be too close to 50-50 is that
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe I was talking to Firebad. Firebad said he actually wished that there's a little bit more dominance in certain matchups, so that way you can actually find rooms to actually have like killing the best, because right now killing the best doesn't exist. Everything is just kind of flat. Yeah. So it's hard to counter a meta if everything's 50%. It's a fairly interesting theory. I never heard that. He wants more. He wants less balance. He wants more imbalanced stuff, which is an interesting.
I think a lot of people agree with that actually. Yeah. Like having more polarized matchup make for a more interesting meta, at least for tournaments.
Right, because then you can build up a lineup that counters specific things based off what people expect for percentages. I mean, we do see a little bit of that, right? Sansifka and Pakrava.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Anti-shaman list. How's everything going over on the French community? How are they enjoying?
Everything's going really well at the moment. So we have some good stuff coming up with the new expansion packs that are coming, and everything has been going pretty swimmingly with the World Championships and everything. Stats are good. The TV's working well, so we're really happy about everything.
Yeah, for sure. Do you guys have any questions for Odeman?
No, I think it's good. Just congratulations again. It's a pretty convincing 3-0 sweep with Druid. Great play, so it's good to watch.
Yeah, I probably won't go through though because I think I'm pretty positive that I'm going to be 17th.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
don't say it like that, man. Don't say it like that. Being 17th. Swiss is so RNG. God, can we have a good format? But hey, man, even so, finishing 7-2 is still quite the accomplishment. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, guys. With that, Swiss is officially over, and with that, we are going to begin the round of 16 matches, and also that means we have a new rotation of casters coming in too. I think Sottle and Lothar are waiting, along with Lorinda. So a big shout out to everyone who's been tuned in. When we come back, we're going to begin the round of 16 here for DreamHack Winter's Grand Prix.